evening, race fans, and welcome to the inaugural round of the Detroit Region Sports Club of America Sim Racing Series. I am your host, Gareth McAllister, bringing you the action in 1080p and 60 FPS with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, provided my good old Aussie internet can continue making that happen. We are setting up for an open qualifying session of 20 odd minutes while these drivers get out there and get some laps underway. It's been an incredible achievement to see these drivers go around practice, and I am very, very excited for the race today, let me tell you, as we are at Sebring International Raceway. Right, and let's get it started off by taking a look at one of the best, Chris Walker, just heading out now in his mobile machine. These cars, not a whole lot of power, but a decent amount of downforce and a whole lot of fun. So definitely looking forward to seeing what we have in store for us today. Welcome once again. We have 3.74 miles of racetrack here at Sebring. Race 1 of 6 in the championship. Pit speed a very slow 45 miles an hour, but something we're definitely we might be seeing during the course of this race. I don't think so now that I'm looking at the sheet itself and correcting myself here up in the booth, as we have about a 30-minute race after this 20 minutes of qualifying with a small warm-up in between. These drivers have a drive-through of 13 incidents, and every 5 incidents after that is going to be another drive-through as well. A rolling start for today's event with fixed setups all round, so all these drivers have the exact same equipment underneath them, as well as some drivers having their very first time out on track in a simulator, and a fantastic turnout to boot. I'd like to say hello to Nathan Crosty joining us in the live chat. Very nice to see him out there as well in the spectator area. So hello and welcome to the inaugural race. Very first time the Detroit Region Sports Car Club of America is making their way out on track. We're going to go pan the camera someone else just for a little bit, and we'll get a gyro cam situated just above the helmet and give you an idea of just how Michael Rodriguez is driving around this track. Get an idea of lap times around the field in short order. But from what I'm understanding, these cars are a whole lot of fun to drive, and it should be a great show, as I said. Now, these drivers have 2 drop weeks at their disposal as well, so their 2 worst times will be dropped from the championship standings, meaning their 4 best race results will be the tally of just how well they can do. Elliot Basinski already starting off strong with a 220.370 as he has made his way around the track in the first position currently. Quite a long lap here in these cars. These drivers also have a tow and you're out rule, which basically states that if you have to tow for any such a reason, If you have a bit of damage on the machine, you're allowed to come in, drive it down pit road, get it fixed, and fix it up and drive out as normal. But if you have to take a tow, because you can't make it back to pit road under your own steam, then you will be ineligible to come back out on track, or risk that you may add a little bit of injury to yourself and maybe others when you come back out on track with a potentially still damaged race car. And you can see Michael Rodriguez just set the 9th fastest lap of the race so far while we were on board with him. Watching the 69 machine now of Andrew Gross as he makes his way around the circuit for the first time. That bright yellow Fanatec sponsored machine. Bright yellow, bright green, bit of a mix of both in those fluorescent colors. And using quite a lot of curb as well. Looking nice and clean so far. Makes his way down towards the back section of the track. I believe called the Le Mans Chicane, this one. Down on the long back straightaway towards Sunset Corner. Aptly named, as that is the sun setting directly on your face when you come down that road, which is not ideal, especially when you're driving towards the later part of the day. Very difficult corner to get right, maximize the speed on exit. And it looks like Gross just got it a little bit wrong there, a little bit wide on entry and on exit as well. He will come across the line. Start his flying lap. Take a look at another driver out on track right now. Let's take a look at Dustin Crooks. Sitting right behind quite a few other drivers right there. So I believe that's going to be Trenton McMillan just in front of him. Yes, it is. Quite a number of drivers coming out here tonight. This is one of the biggest grids I think we've seen in an iRacing session, so very, very happy I am to see them all. We've only had 17 make a lap so far, but we have quite a few waiting in the wings as well. We have about 28 drivers that have made their way to the racing session. And we'll hope that they can make their way on to the entirety of the circuit, all the way to the end of the race as well. Be ideal. As these two drivers, Crooks and McMillan, try to use each other as a drafting partner. And look at that, Connor Roberts in the beautiful renowned paint scheme. Shout out to the Mazda 787B Le Mans winning race car from, I believe it was 1992. I could be wrong there. I know it was around early 90s though. Always a very iconic paint scheme, that one in the number 3. You can see just how tightly packed the field is on the left side of your screen, with the timing tower letting you know just how far apart these drivers are from one another. And it is very, very close indeed. T-Zilla coming in with the chat as well, letting us know that we're doing a pretty decent job on commentary. So thank you very, very much. I will try my best up here in the booth for you tonight. Try to keep it a little bit serious. Maybe have the light-hearted comment now and then, as is my sort of a style. But yeah, don't forget to let us know who you're cheering on, who you're rooting for, and who you might want to see on screen. And we'll try and pan the camera to them and let you know during the race how well they're doing. And we'll get the camera fixated on them for a little bit of screen time. As we head towards the last 8 minutes of open qualifying. Open qualifying as well, coming with its own set of challenges. And the camera just a little bit forward. That's Michael Schmidt going for a little bit of a ride. Oh, and that's definitely contact right there. Between him and I believe that may have been... No, that wasn't Elliott. Budzinski. That was another driver entirely. It looks like it might have been Dachang. Very unfortunate situation for the drivers there. As we take a look at Logan McDonough. Zilla letting us know, go number 27. That is Adam Smith, who currently is yet to set a clean lap here. Now, what I mean by clean is not necessarily that it has to be a lap where the driver doesn't spin around or anything of the sort. What I mean when I say that is iRacing has a particular service where if you are registered as having even a 0x, so X meaning incident points, so you may have a very, very slight contact with the wall that does not affect the race car in the slightest. Or you may cut the track just a tiny bit too much. I believe it's more than half the car off the racetrack. At some tracks it may only be the inside wheels the way over the curb. But sometimes these drivers will do that, trying to push as much speed out of these machines, and when that happens, it counts as an incident point as far as iRacing is concerned, and then that will null and void the lap time that they have just put down. So these drivers have to be aware of that as they continue throughout this race as well. As I said at the top of the show, we have a 13 incident limit on that. And if you go over that limit, you are going to be serving a drive-through, which will be extremely costly time-wise. Ritter also getting some love from Zilla. Zilla's just cheering on everyone at the moment, and I absolutely love to see it. Let's have a look at Ritter as well. There he is. Doing a little bit of sliding, a little bit of dirt track racing. And potentially deciding that he is going to take a little bit of a break just to cool off after that one. Little bit of nerves being on screen for the first time, I reckon. That was for Ari Ritter. Chris Walker pushing the bounds of the track, trying to absolutely maximize the speed in his machine. Us following the wake of, I believe that might be David Grzinski. Just ahead. Oh, apologies, he's just behind. That was the Chang just in front, providing a little bit of draft, but it's not going to be enough to increase his time to 33. So again, some of these drivers, the very first time appearing in the simulator. And I gotta tell you, for first timers, I'm not seeing a whole lot of incidents out on track. More often than not, it seems to be pretty solid right now. So looking forward to seeing how the race comes through fruition, I should say. There you go. First little interesting moment of the night. I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come as we've got just about 3 minutes of qualifying left to go before a bit of a warm-up. A 10-minute cooldown almost. It's called a warm-up on iRacing, but there will be, I'm sure, no warming up after the qualifying. Will have definitely warmed up a lot of these drivers. Take a look at Keith Roberts and where he is out on track. The bottom right hand of the screen, you can see the track map. It at the moment is showing the position of the drivers out on track, not the numbers of the cars. And we will keep it that way for you when it comes to the racing session. As you may want to know exactly where the car that you are currently looking at, or where the driver is on track. And that small green highlight, if you can see that, it might be a little bit small on your screens on the track map, just honing us in on exactly who we're currently looking at. As we take a little look-see-loo at Russell Soto, currently sitting in the second place position in that Toyota-backed machine. Now, he's one of the integral parts behind making this iRacing League happen. And it's always a pleasure talking to him. I've been racing with him in sim for about 2 years now. And it has been an absolute pleasure talking to him and getting to know him as a driver and as a person. And I think it is fantastic what he has been able to do here. Now, in just over a minute's time, we will get to hear from the president of the Detroit Region Sports Car Club of America. And we will get Alex De La Torre in here in just a bit of a moment, letting him qualify right now and get a feeling for how the sim is treating him. As a lot of these drivers will be using this qualifying session to get a good idea of how these cars will operate for the longevity of this course. And what just happened? I saw a driver lose their front end. Might have... Whoa! We've got a little bit of a Sean Fritz going for a little bit of a drive. David Bauer will stay looking at his machine as he makes his way across the line. Going to try a bit of pit entry. Not a bad decision. Sure he can get it dialed down and does so. And let's take a look. I believe Adam Smith is going to be the final car that will be on track by the time our qualifying session comes to an end. All of the curbing. Smith trying desperately to increase his position on the board right now. Very, very close to the driver just ahead of Michael Schmidt. That is a beautiful corner entry right there, maximizing speed on exit towards Sunset Bend. Down into the double right-hander on the concrete. Trying to maximize his speed out. We'll see if he can improve his position as he comes across the line. And unfortunately does not seem like he was able to do so. 0.04 of a second slower than his previous best time. So about as close as you could possibly get there. All right, we'll get ready to head towards the warm-up. But while we do so, we'll get Alex to join us up here in the booth. Excuse that, doesn't seem to be working the way I want it to. Let's drag him the old-fashioned way. Ah. All right, we'll try and see if we can get him a slightly different way for you. Try and figure this one out quite quickly. All right, we'll see if we can get Alex De La Torre in here in just a quick moment. Seem to be having a little bit of trouble at... No, this is teething problems. This is the kind of stuff that you sometimes get when it's the very first race of a brand new series. Does definitely happen on the odd occasion. So we'll just take a quick look at Dan Mount making his way around during the warm-up before the race begins. See if we can fix this as quickly as possible. All right, well, while we wait for that to be done, as we said, we're going to be watching Dan Mount go around the track. We've also got Lucas Harshfield joining us in the spectator area. Go, Ari. A lot of love for Ari at the moment. May be the most popular driver here tonight. That'll certainly be an interesting one. All right. I have received confirmation about how we might be able to do this one, so let's get it done. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, there it is. Hello,
Hello.
Alex Stella Torres. That worked.
Hey, Gareth. Did you push the right button?
I definitely tried to. I'm pretty sure I did, but maybe... Ah, that's what happened there. So Russell put you in himself manually. What an absolute legend, but we'll get down to that in a second. First of all, Alex, thank you for joining us, and let us know what your ideas or thoughts were behind this league and what's kind of going on. Give your opinion to the people, fans might be watching at home.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you very much for commentating. Two exciting organizations coming together here that have been around since the late 50s and late 40s. First of all, the Detroit region, SCCA, that's hosting this, has been around since 1948. We've been doing road racing, autocross, rallycross, road rally. Actually, this is also our 75th year of road rallies, press on regardless. And it's about time that we allowed the lines to blur between, simulation racing online, and I love seeing a lot of the names that are, that are registered and that are throwing down some really fast qualifying laps right now, because I've been on track with these folks over the last 10 years, and it's just again about blurring those lines, letting people know on both sides of the sim that you should be doing both, right? Not just one or not just the other. Partake. Yes, there are some cost hurdles to get over, but we can all save our pennies and move toward that.
Absolutely. Like, as a fellow person who loves the sport of motorsport, I am very much excited to see what can happen here and excited to see it finally come together. And, sim racing has been developing a bit of a bigger following in recent times, so it's nice for them to come together and potentially maybe a broader reach out for maybe some people who've been interested in doing some real life series but wasn't sure how to get into. You think this sort of series will be something for them?
Absolutely. So let me give all you sim guys that want to get behind the the analog seat a tip on how to do it. Search out your local tracks. Go there, volunteer. Learn how to flag, get close to the track, raise your hand and crew for somebody. At Waterford Hills, which is one of our sponsors, been around since 1958. We do things like co-driver races. We do volunteer appreciation days, which you don't own the car, but you get behind the wheel of somebody else's car. Somebody who you've been supporting all season. We give that opportunity to you to do so. And I also got to give a shout out to our other sponsor, which is the Michigan Turn Marshals. I don't know if people are aware, but amateur racing and really professional racing across America does not happen without volunteers. And once again, the best seat in the house, you can get behind the flag and you can be inches from walls and these cars going by uber fast. The racers love the volunteers. We love to get back, and we love to teach you guys what we know and get you behind the wheel. I mean, Russell is, just one example of that. Um, I invited you earlier. Come on out. There's a few guys online that you get an opportunity to drive the person's race car that does have it and own it. So again, the big tip: go out to the track, raise your hand, volunteer behind the flag and the stewards tower, or walk up to a team and be like, hey, how can I help you? How can I help you get on and off track?
Absolutely. Well, that sounds wonderful. Now, before we let you go, Alex, we'll ask you one more question. And just a quick word if you can. I know you don't have a lot of time left, but how do these cars compare to their real life counterparts in sim?
They're Yeah, in iRacing, it's pretty true to life. You know, the Spec Racer 4 Gen 3, it's a funny car because it is a purpose-built race car, and as I like to say, you know, you can get them to understeer and oversteer in the same corner. You definitely have to drive these cars with your feet more than you do with your hands. They're a great kind of transition vehicle from going from a production-based vehicle like a Spec Miata into potentially getting into, you know, the open wheels that you see out there, the Formula Continentals, Atlantics, Indy Nexus, whatever's out there. They're worth a try. So um, they're true to life. I will say this is my first. I'm the old man trying to sim here. This is my first time doing one of these races. But if I don't set an example for my other gray-haired brethren, we won't blur the lines between the youth and, you know, and the gray hairs.
Well, I tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Alex, and who knows, we might actually see you up at the front. You never know how these things might play out, but if not, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Hopefully you've converted some other people, like you've definitely inspired me to do some racing of my own, but we're going to let you go and do a warm-up for I think there's only about 1 minute left, so get yourself all prepped for the race, and we might see you up here afterward.
Thanks a ton, Gareth.
No worries at all. All right, that was Alex Della Torre joining us in the booth. Absolute pleasure and a very nice man to talk to, as he is the president for the Detroit Region Sports Car Club of America. Really working hard to combine the simulator series and the real life racing into one, and a fantastic job of it he is doing so far, if you ask me. All right, we've got just about 15 seconds or so left in this warm-up, and it is going to be an absolute ripper. Very, very much excited, and I hope you are too. I see about 20 people joining us in the spectator area, giving a little bit of a watch, and that is absolutely fantastic to see. Once again, during the race, let us know who you may be rooting for, who you're cheering on, and we'll see if we can get the camera pan to them and let you know how they are getting on with the drive during the course of the race. But right now, it's going to be grid 'em up time. Elliot Basinski starting on the pole with a fantastic time of 2:20.288, with Russell Soto just over half a second behind, lining up in the second position. Keith Rittinger in the third position, with Connor Roberts sitting in the fourth spot alongside him. Row 3, we have David Bauer and Ari Ritter, excuse me, as we also have Ryan Carwile and Mike Knutson. Knutson. Apologies for that one, as well as we try and compose ourselves up here in the booth. Dustin Crooks in the 9th position, with Sean Fritz in 10th. As so say we have Michael Schmidt in 11th and Adam Smith in the 12th place position. Cycle the grid on back to 13th, with Jared Conwell and Chris Walker in the 14th spot. Trent McMillan with Andrew Gross in 15th and 16th. Keith Roberts, Chad Geidel, Jacob Blanchard, and Michael Rodriguez in 20th. Logan McDonough, David Grzinski, Dan Mount, and Jay Lasco, Jonathan Edwards, Alejandro De La Torre, and Chang as well. There are a lot of names. Didn't quite get through. I think I got through everyone just in the nick of time. But there's quite a lot of drivers. 28 cars out on track as these cars got ready to go a little bit quicker than I was expecting. But there's a big fight already for the third place spot. And Roberts wants to take advantage as quick as possible. But still side by side with Keith Drittinger. And Drittinger is going to keep the spot of third. And look at them fan out, trying to get every which way to get the position made. David Bowers looked like he's going to take that spot away. And there's a little bit of an issue as Drittinger went out wide. And he's going to lose a buttload of spots. Down to the 8th position now for Drittinger. An unfortunate start for him, but plenty of time to make it back up, as Brzezicki and Soto have left the field in their wake just a little bit for the moment, as Carwile has done a great job of getting himself into the top 5 positions. There are battles absolutely everywhere as Dustin Crooks now goes for a move on Ari Ritter and makes it work, or does he? No, does not, as Ari takes it back. And Drittinger follows through, maybe tries to take another spot for himself as well. And certainly does so. These cars absolutely fanning out everywhere. It's fantastic to see. Look at the stream of vehicles as we pan the camera back just a little bit of a ways. Chris Walker on the inside of Andrew Gross. I believe that's actually Michael Schmidt. And it is so, as we have a 3-car battle, it looks like, just further back. With Jay Lasco, Keith Roberts, Chad Geidel, all very, very close together. Jacob Blanchard there as well in the shell-backed yellow machine. And that is a beautiful sunset corner for Blanchard, making that one stick beautifully. We pan the camera back up front. Russell Soto underneath the low sideline, taking the lead away from Brzezicki, who takes it right back straight away. These two battling it out hard, but Brzezicki is going to hold on to the top spot right now. And Soto's going to have to link up just behind. A little bit of a battle for the 16th place as well. 3 wide action being hinted at, deciding against it. On well, doing a great job just in front. Trent McMillan there as well with Jacob Blanchard, and just behind them, Lasco and Roberts also. Painting the camera back just a little bit further forward. There was an attempted pass there, and there was a pass there as we had another car go around. A little bit of an incident. Michael Rodriguez, Adam Smith involved. Adam Smith, one of the fan favorites, unfortunately tied up in that one, as we go for a quick recap and take a look at what went wrong. So potentially just a little bit of a wide turn there for Rodriguez, spinning around all on his lonesome. Let's take a quick look at what happened to Smith. He made his way down the track, and I believe just got in there a little bit too hard, not slowing the car down enough. And everyone doing a great job of avoiding, and him doing a great job of getting out of the way quickly as well. As we have a race right now. Look at that. David Bauer being absolutely pushed by Ryan Carwile just ahead of them. It looked like there's a little bit of a battle going on still, as well as a potential slowdown happening just there for the number 3 machine of Roberts. Slowdown being indicative of someone using the track too much to be counted as an incident, and iRacing saying that you will gain too much time, so a slowdown is the only penalty that they could see being fitting the crime. And that basically means that you are being forced to slow down on circuit, which caused him to lose quite a few spots, but he's back up to speed now and trying to catch back up to this pack of cars just in front of Ritter, having a nice little lunge on the low side of Carwile, but there's not enough room there. Drittinger trying his best to hold off Bauer, who is sitting right on the tail end. Must be thinking that those three cars are almost pushing each other faster. While being one of those as well. It's the two leaders you can see just at the top of the screen. And this is proving to be a absolute multitude of battles on track right now. We go back a little bit because it looked like there was a little bit of an incident, and there certainly was. As Trenton McMillan gets spun around. Take another look, see what happened to him. As he was making his way down to the very difficult hairpin. And let's see if he got tagged. There were quite a few other cars around him, but no, it looks like all on his lonesome. You can see already with opposite lock, unfortunately, not able to hold it underneath him. I don't believe he got involved in anything with anyone else, though. As that car looks pretty clean from what we can see. Jay Lasco also having a little bit of a solo spin. As what has happened here? There are car parts littered all over the circuit. And that's the biggest crash we've seen so far. David Bauer is going to be involved in that one. And these cars were fighting all for third position. Ripping the front end off of that machine. Oh, gets tagged from behind. And absolutely nowhere to go, a lot of these cars. And just the pile-ins continue. So extremely unfortunate for some of these drivers as the two leaders are still side by side. Bludzinski is trying desperately to hold off Soto for the top spot, and they have now opened up a gap of just under 5 seconds to third place just behind. Has been intense racing. It is the opening round, and it is certainly not disappointing, as there we go. Soto makes a move to the inside, gets it done, a little bit loose on exit, goes dirt tracking. It's going to be taken advantage by Budzinski. These two are absolutely on the edge right now. Soto on the outside line is going to have to give up the spot to Budzinski. They were oh so close for oh so long, and there might be the reason why they separate a bit. Soto with a small mistake, and any small mistake in these machines is going to cost you dearly, as we pan the camera back to the 9th position, fighting for 8th, because Jared Conwell has just taken over the spot from Mike Knutson, and Knutson just completely obliterates the back end of that machine. Not sure what was happening there, just missed his braking marker entirely. And the biggest winner of that is going to be Andrew Gross, who just basically says thank you very much and takes the 8th spot away with relative ease. Just behind him, Knutson still having a little bit of a fight with Adam Smith now. Smith on the outside lane, going to have the run on the exit, a lot more speed. And tucking in behind is Knutson, trying to take advantage of the draft. And Soto tries to catch back up to Budzinski as well for the top spots. Got a battle going on for the 5th position as well. Excuse me, that's the 6th spot. With Ari Ritter and Michael Schmidt not too far behind. should pan the camera a little bit further back because look at that. Conwell is in a very tough fight right now with Roberts for the 11th spot on track. And able to get that one done. Just over 10 minutes completed so far. A third of the way through. And looking very, very racy even after all this time. Now Schmidt has some company because he's still trying to fight the back bumper of Ritter. And seems to be catching up relatively well. Not quite as quickly though, as Smith caught up to Gross. Gross defends the inside line. And is going to hold on to the position for now. Smith to the outside. I don't think that's going to work, but he tries to make it stick anyway. Left plenty of room and makes it work around the outside. Fantastic pass on Gross as we pan the camera back up to the front. Because here comes Soto to the inside of Budzinski. Oh, Budzinski back to the front though. And that was some not so great camera work on my part. I apologize for that one. But I got the point across as there was an attempted dive move. And Budzinski went to the inside, made it work without too much of a problem. May have heard there the car just registering, hitting the inside wall. Don't get me wrong, they were very, very close. But they didn't actually hit that wall in the end. Just a little bit of iRacing error. As you know, with the internet, nothing is always perfect, but doing a pretty good job, it must be said. As there was just a pass, I believe, for the 9th place spot. Making his way up into 8th was Adam Smith, and 9th was Knutson on Gross. Sorry, Gross, and Gross goes for a little bit of a dirt track experience. Does not lose a spot, so fantastic racing for him, and there is still a very, very close battle. My chat has just updated from the spectator area, so thank you for putting up with me if I haven't gotten around to it. Dono might asking if the league is full. Absolutely not. This league is on offer for every driver of every skill level, and they are allowing every single person who has signed up to get on board. DRSCCA Sim Racing Series. Definitely give them a look because this kind of racing is phenomenal right now, and I'm very, very much enjoying watching it. Ryan Hancock wishing Andrew good luck to the top 10, and he is still sitting in the top 10 quite well at the moment. That 69 machine, and there's Soto looking with a little bit of a lean on that machine as they catch up to some lap traffic. That's going to provide some draft for Soto, who may just make this pass happen. Very, very close between the two drivers. Lap traffic taking the inside line. That's going to hurt Budzinski. Soto's going to take advantage. 3 wide trying to split that machine. They do so, and they still remain together. A little bit of side-by-side racing. A little bit of contact between the two, but Budzinski is going to once again hold off Soto into turn 2. This is phenomenal stuff that we are witnessing right now. And that was Rodriguez that they just overtook, who didn't know where to go with the 2 leaders coming up. As Soto looks for another inside overtake on the very tricky, very slow hairpin. Trying to push Budzinski wide. leaving enough room just for the two cars to still maintain side by side all the way down that straight and forcing each other to use as much track as possible. But Zinski wants Soto to know that he is there as they head on in. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them. Soto takes the lead, a little bit of a lap car issue, but we're going to ignore that for now as Soto takes over the race lead, and Budzinski into second place for the first time in a little while is going to have to stay there and watch Soto go around in front of him. Sonia letting us know that we have some good commentating and replays, so we appreciate that as well. Thank you very much for joining us in the spectator area as Budzinski once again takes over the lead from Soto. Soto goes a little bit wide, but maybe that was a move to his advantage on exit. I'm not sure he's going to be close enough to make that lunge, though, as we go a little bit further back, because we see a battle forming, a two-wide scenario between Blanchard and Conwell, who does have to give up that fight just there onto the inside of that little bit of a corner. And Soto did make the dive that we thought he wasn't going to be able to. Budzinski's definitely got the run, but he's going to be checked up a little bit by Soto. Soto with the inside line. Budzinski has it at the start-finish straight. Just over halfway in this race, still, or just under halfway still to go. Just over halfway completed, and Soto with a little bit of a wide arc, trying to keep Budzinski all the way on the edge. Will Budzinski come down? No, they allow for some two-wide racing, and once again into turn two. Budzinski is just too strong for Soto. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, and the buck does not end there as we have still quite a lot of racing. One of the fan favorites, Andrew Gross, on the outside line, trying to make something happen on Knutson. Trying to keep that momentum up. Go down to the inside line with a crossover move into turn two, where we've seen so many passes being able to make stick. And I don't think it's going to be enough of a send on Gross's part to make that one work. Blanchard is off the track. That was a very, very high-risk maneuver. As, look at this, once again, Gross to the outside of Knutson. So the racing just does not stop here at the DRSCCA Sim Racing Series. And this is just phenomenal. We'll pan the camera back a little bit, give some spotlight to some of the guys a little bit further back down the order. But for 19th place, Justin Crooks just took over the spot from Michael Rodriguez, as they've been battling it out for about half a lap now. So Crooks up a spot into 19th. A little bit further up, Gross and Knutson battle continues. Oh, a little bit of a contact between the two of them. Russ with a phenomenal drive. Unbelievable. Not sure how he was able to keep that one together. That's incredible driving. And we actually want to take a look at that one, because that was pretty incredible. So we'll take a look at Gross and we'll make this go live and have a look at the car control with the hands down on the bottom of the screen all the way around, keeping the throttle down as well. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely incredible driving. As Soto has taken back over the lead and now expands it just a little bit, 0.2 of a second ahead of Budzinski. This battle continues with Knutson and Gross once again, after Gross with that phenomenal save. And here they go again. Knutson a little bit too deep. Here comes Gross to the inside. The over-under always works, but will it this time? No, just doesn't seem like it. Might send it anyway. Knutson allows the room just in case. It doesn't look like it's going to happen as they keep battling for the 9th spot, but up in the lead. This battle has never let up from start to, it looks like, finish at this point because it's going to keep going. I can't imagine it ending anytime soon. Budzinski still holding on to the race lead as these drivers leapfrog up for the top spot. Soto now to the outside, which will become the inside line in what I believe is the Le Mans chicane. Still side by side. The advantage goes to the outside lane car, though, on this one. A little bit of damage you could see there on Budzinski's machine as they head down towards Sunset Bend. It doesn't seem to be impacting his performance at all, though, as Budzinski is still fighting tooth and nail with Soto. A little bit of contact between the two. Once again, Rubbin is racing, as we know, forcing Soto out as wide as possible as Budzinski. Little bit of lap traffic, not a factor though. And Budzinski is going to take over the race lead, but with the draft being so impactful on these machines, here comes Soto once again. This is absolutely phenomenal to watch. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am as well up here in the booth. And Soto continues to hold off Budzinski. Is it going to be enough? Turn 2, Budzinski we know is way too strong. And it seems like holding true to form, he is going to stay in the lead of Soto there. Soto has made a dive down into this very difficult hairpin before, but I believe he's going to be a little bit too far back this time by to try it one more time. And yes, he decides against it. As we go back a bit in the pack, because we've got Jacob Blanchard trying to make something happen against Trent McMillian. And the Penzance machine does make it happen, but pushes way too wide on exit. Going to be dirt tracking it. Keeps it straight. Really, really well done from Blanchard, but unfortunately not able to make that move on McMillian. Budzinski and Soto again side by side. These two just won't quit. And Soto trying to leave enough room for Budzinski, who uses the dirt, but it's still going to be enough traction to keep alongside. These two drivers just cannot get enough of each other right now. Soto takes the inside line, is going to take over the lead once more, but again, Budzinski is going to want to use straight away to his advantage. And that is what's happening right now. They just can't get away from each other. Now, don't look too far behind. You can see Brittinger and Carwile in the 3rd and 4th position are pretty close to each other. Not too far behind these leaders either. So, should something happen to these leaders, they are right in the strike zone. And we say that the commentator's curse comes out. Soto tags the back end of Budzinski, who is going to be in a very precarious position and chooses to take a tow. That is absolute heartbreak for Budzinski there. And I think we're going to have to take another look at that one. So we'll back that one up and take another look. So the two were side by side heading into Sunset Bend. And it looks like Soto might just have gone a little bit too far to the inside. Just clipped the back bumper of Budzinski. Absolutely. Little bit of net code there being involved as well. But those two drivers were definitely going to hit regardless. And around she goes. So Russell Soto right now taking over the race lead and sticking with it as we pan the camera back to our ever-developing battle of Gross, now finding himself in the clutches of Roberts. as he's fallen a little bit of a ways back from Knutson. But still sitting comfortably in the top 10 in the 9th position. A little bit of a bobble, but I think he's going to be fine. As we'll pan the camera once again quite quickly up to the 2nd position. Rittinger and Carwile, they've seen that they are now fighting for 2nd, not just a podium. And they both want it dearly. Rittinger just went a little bit too wide. But I don't think Carwile's going to be close enough to take advantage. Or will he? Draft playing such a huge role. Is he going to jump out of line? No, decides to stay behind for the moment. Maybe trying to work together, see if they can keep the draft up. Catch up to Soto, but Soto goes down pit road. Soto has come down pit road, sorry. And it looks like it's going to be voluntarily. See, yes, it does look like he's going to stop in his pit stall. So, all of a sudden, Rittinger and Carwile find themselves battling it out for the lead. This is incredible. This is the kind of stuff that you cannot script. And we find as we go, the racing keeps on going and keeps getting better and better as time goes on. We have just over 3 minutes, or just under 3 minutes now to go. It is heating up, not just here, but also on track. These drivers will have 2 laps, this one and the next, to make a case for themselves, I believe. Be lucky if we get 1 extra on top of that. But Carwile and Rittinger are now going to be fighting it out for who wants the top spot. Absolutely beautiful scenes here tonight. And we'll take a ride on the nose of Carwile. Gives you a real sense of speed of these machines. They may be slow by the standards of top tier racing cars, but they are not slow at all. As I'm pretty sure we still get up to around about 200 kilometers an hour. I'm gonna have to fact check that one, but I'm pretty sure it's around about there still, which certainly is not walking pace. That 29 machine still holding on to that top spot. As we come to what might be the final lap, and there's the move. Highwell to the inside of Rittinger, and it looks like it's going to work. Rittinger falls back to the inside though. Little switcheroo. Decides against it though. Might just hold back and wait to see if he can capitalize the draft towards the end of this lap and make a move for the lead. Soto is back out on track, sitting in the 8th position at the moment. And Soto's back in pit lane once again, so not sure what happened there. Speaking of, Rittinger just a little bit too crazy with the throttle, trying to keep as close as he can to the back of Carwile. Makes a small mistake. And there is the difference. Carwile gaining just over a full second advantage up in the top spot right now. And going to be super, super happy to see that unfold. in his side mirrors. Now these cars do look a little bit funky to the eye. I have to admit that, but they also look quite nice. In a weird way, I'm not sure. They almost look like a mini Pagani. That's how I'm going to say that. Weird way, I know they're Fords, but it's the way that I guess it's the side mirrors more than anything else that's giving me that impression as Carwile makes his way to the checkered flag. It should be coming out this time as he makes his way around Sunset Bend for the final time. Can he keep the car underneath him? And we should be looking pretty. Ryan Carwile, take a bow. You're going to be winning the inaugural Detroit Region Sports Car Club of America race for the Sim Racing Series. Fantastic stuff. Keith Dridiger in the second position, following along suit, and there is Sean Fritz following through in the third spot. Absolutely amazing racing from the entire league. And once again, absolutely feel free to send a little bit of request to join the league. They're accepting new members, I believe, and they are absolutely lovely bunch of people. Just racing enthusiasts doing what they do best and being incredibly kind-hearted souls as Russell Soto on the final lap makes a move against Keith Roberts to take 8th position away. Just barely tipping him to the line. And it'll take a bit of time for the rest of the field to come through as it is a 2.5-minute lap time around here. It was an absolutely beautiful show of racing. Apologies for the little bit of croak in my voice just then. We're going to get ready to set up some interviews. And the very first one is going to be Sean Fritz joining us up here in the booth. Sean, how was that race from your perspective? It looked absolutely incredible from here in the booth.
It was certainly something, especially there at the beginning. I don't know, I saw like the pack of cars that Ryan and Keith got caught up in, and I've got to thank Trenton in the other legitimate racing car who took kind of the aggro behind me and and through I guess through through little faults kind of helped separate the pack. And I just once Ryan and Keith started fighting, they were pulling away, and I kind of found myself in a little bit of no man's land. And if I wasn't being fast, I at least found some consistency, so that helped a lot. But yeah, overall, it was a good race.
Definitely seemed to be your strong suit, was definitely the consistency. Now, let us know if you had any kind of like major concerns coming into the starting race of the season. You're a bit worried that some people might make some rash moves that they shouldn't quite be doing at this point in time, or were the nerves for you particular just way too high and just happened to get it done, or just give us a rough feel as to what your thoughts were heading into the first race of the season.
Yeah. So the main rule that concerned me was if you have to tow, you're out of the race. So I was trying to keep it super clean. I watching everyone in front of me at the start, it looked like everyone was trying to do the same thing. Obviously, there's always the small racing incidents, and these cars are notoriously easy to lock up into some of the heavy braking zones. So really, I was more worried about myself doing something extreme or accidentally stupid. But yeah, it all worked out in the end as the race kind of settled down and things spread out.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it looked like a phenomenal performance from you. Now, Sean, before we let you go, who would you like to shout out? Friends, family, sponsors, maybe someone watching that you may have sent the link to, whatever else. The floor is yours. Third place, that ain't half bad.
Thanks. Yeah, I kind of already did a brief shout out at the beginning, but I've got to do a shout out to Trenton and the other legitimate racing car and the legitimate racing team as well. Um, they they helped me do some real world racing as well, and it's always fun to have some teammates here in the virtual world as well. So
All
thanks to
right.
you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for being up here in the booth and being such a good sport as well. Fritz, we'll let you go. We look forward to seeing you at Road Atlanta next week. Good luck there. Maybe we'll see you in the booth again.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it.
All right, sounds good. Take care.
Yep, you too.
All right, that was Sean Fritz joining us from the third position. Next up is Keith Drittinger. Am I saying that right, Keith?
Keith Derringer. Yep.
Diringer. Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. Well, now that we got that one sorted out of the way, welcome to the broadcast booth. It was a phenomenal race, and I tell you, I shouldn't really pick favorites, but I was kind of rooting for you there when you were battling with Carwile. Now, first and foremost, we have to ask, were you guys, I mean, we know you were battling for third position. Did you know that did you turn the taps on, just push that little bit extra once you realized that you were in the battle for the lead?
I mean, we saw the leader, or I guess it was first or second, go off there in Sunset, and then the next lap Russell came and brought it down pit road. So from that point, you knew it was third. You were hoping that maybe the leaders would get together, and you got lucky there. But just trying to kind of ease through it, and Ryan definitely had the toe there for the last couple of laps, and um, trying to set him up there on the run down into turn one, and then kind of get a run back on the back, but got a little loose. Tires were pretty worn out, and track was pretty hot, so we were struggling a little bit, and yeah, just got a little loose and couldn't quite get back to him. But still pretty happy with second place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw you have that little bit of a bobble, and I think I can say on behalf of everyone watching in the spectator area as well that we were super excited to see that race to the end. Unfortunately, not quite the way we were all hoping it would go, but hey, still an amazing race, and as I said, it was an absolute pleasure watching you. Let us know, just before you go, let us know what were your thoughts and feelings heading to this event. Were you a little bit nervous as well as what we saw when we asked Fritz this question? He was saying that, oh, everyone was just a little bit sort of taking their time and easing their way into it, not wanting too many incidents early on because of the toe and you're out rule. Do you think that leads to a little bit sort of cleaner racing from this group of guys as well?
Oh man, I would have loved to have a little more silver racing in the start. I mean, we had a whole Donnybrook back there with, I mean, it was probably 5 of us right off the start, and once we kind of got settled in a little bit, me and Ryan were able to kind of work together and break away from that pack. There was I don't know, group of 3 or 4 or 5 that spun, coming onto the backstretch with 20 minutes to go, and from there it was like me and Ryan just sat down, got together, and said, all right, you know, we knew we weren't going to catch the leaders, and we were going to battle it out for third, and then got a little bit lucky.
Well, I tell you what, it was a phenomenal race and it was fantastic to watch you and Carlisle battle. But before we let you go, who are your friends, family, sponsors, anyone you've sent the stream to, anyone watching that you know, or whoever else you'd like to, give us a shout out and let us know what you're thinking in this second place.
Yeah, I mean, second place is really the best outcome that I think I could have hoped for today. You know, I knew battling for the win was, you know, going to be an ultimate goal, but, you know, I'd like to thank my wife, Haley, you know, our newborn baby daughter, Collins, you know, my team at Toyota R&D Motorsports, and ultimately the friend group that got me kind of into iRacing, Team Blue Tape.
All right, sounds good. Well, Keith, we look forward to seeing you potentially next week after the race here at Road Atlanta. Good luck in that one, and we'll see you then.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Right, that was Keith. If it was again, I have the memory of a goldfish, and I'm super apologetic about that. We'll try and get that one fully down for you next time, but I believe all right, as Ryan Carwile will bring up here into the booth. Ryan, welcome. Top spot. You've got to be chuffed after that one.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I didn't think we were gonna catch the leaders at all, but luckily they took each other out, and I kind of got lucky. Keith to manage to, when I passed Keith, he got a little bit sideways. Otherwise, he was probably gonna get me into sunset. But yeah, crazy win, right?
Oh, absolutely incredible. I mean, you picked your moment of when you were going to make that overtake right into the final lap. And I tell you what, Keith was thinking about making that move back on you, but like you said, had a little bit of an incident. Talk us through, was it just a wave of relief that hit you when you saw that he had that problem?
Yeah, well, it was a mix of relief and anxiety. You just gotta calm yourself down, not amp yourself up too much, because these cars are very easy to lock the brakes in. So I just had to calm myself back down to, get the rest of the track in, lap in.
Absolutely. Now, Ryan, we did see a lot of drivers. We watched a fair few onboard views during this race, and we saw a lot of drivers really wheeling it, especially when they got just a little bit loose, trying to get that thing back under control. Like, I mean, you hinted earlier, just how hard was it to control these cars out there?
I think it was especially hard because I think the temperature went up during the race because my lap times were a good bit slower and it seemed like everybody else was a good bit slower too. So I think that just makes it so much harder, and it's it's very easy to power out of the corner, but going into the corner, it's just a balance between getting the car set and not plowing, and then if you try too much brake, you'll end up spinning. So it's hard to balance both of those.
All right, well, there's some insight for you there. All right, Ryan, we're going to let you go celebrate this victory for the very first time this season. But before we let you go, give us a shout out, friends, family, sponsors, anyone who'd you like to celebrate this first place with.
I'll give a shout out to my mom and dad because they're the ones who got me into racing in the first place.
All right, fantastic, nice, quick, and simple. Humble guy, Ryan Carlisle. It's been absolute pleasure talking it to you, and hopefully we'll see you up here. What do you think are your chances for Road Atlanta next week?
I don't know. I mean, I think I might be able to sneak onto the podium, but if those two guys don't wreck, they had the whole field covered. So that just means we gotta practice a little bit more, see if we can catch up to them.
All right, well, best of luck with that, and I'm sure we might see you up here in the booth next week. Have a good one. See you then.
Thank you.
All right, that was Ryan Carwile at home in the top spot. Thank you very much for watching. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I have been your host this evening, Gareth McAllister, bringing you the action with the Detroit Region Sports Car Club of America Sim Racing Series. We'll be here at the same time next week for round 2 at Road Atlanta. Don't miss it. It's going to be phenomenal. If this race was anything to go by, this season is going to prove to be non-stop action. So definitely don't miss out on the next one. We will see you then. Thank you very, very much for watching. Have a great night.